Hello, Steve here from the Vinyl Record Mission. Have you ever found one of your favorite musicians on a record that you would have never expected him to be on or her to be on? You're out looking at records, shopping for records, and maybe flipping through some records at a thrift store, and you see this one album, you pick it up, and you're like, who's this? And you turn it around, and you're like, what? Well, I found one of those records. And if you want to find out who it is and what album he's on, stick around.
Your two favorite guys, Ryan and Steve from the Vinyl Record Mission.
Yeah, we all have our favorite musicians, you know, the Coltranes, the Lee Morgans, the Ginger Bakers, the John Bonhams, the Jimmy Pages, and you know, all of our favorite musicians, whether they play guitar, piano, drums. And most of the time we know their discography. We know what band they've played with forever, if they ever had a solo career. But as a sideman, you know, some of the most famous people you don't ever really see, you know, branching out. Maybe later in their careers, you know, once they are no longer in their heyday, they start teaming up with other musicians and put out recordings and continue to do what they love doing. Well, I came across a record after reading a book that this particular artist put out in the year 2021, I believe it was. What should I show you first, the record or the book? All right, first I'll show you this. This is the record that individual is on, and it just so happens to be sealed. It's 52 years old, so we're going to crack this open and check it to see if it's still in good condition, if it has been warped or, you know, what's going on inside. It's always curious to me. I know I've been catching a lot of flack and getting a lot of scoldings for having sealed records, but guess what? I can have sealed records if I want, and so can you. If that's what you choose to collect, then more power to you. Keep on collecting those sealed records. That doesn't mean you don't love music, duh, because you can still listen to music in other formats, right? On the radio, maybe you stream, or maybe you have other records that you listen to that are not sealed. Well, this is Woody Herman, and this is Raven, 1970, what is this, 1972, I think, or something? Anyways, the record's 52 years old. And on the back, I've learned about this, but I'll show you. I found this out by reading his book. See that there? That's Joe LaBarbera on drums. Now, Joe LaBarbera was the final drummer in the Bill Evans trio, along with Mark Johnson on bass. And that trio was actually said to be as good, if not better, believe it or not, then, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, than the Scott LaFaro and Paul Motian trio with Bill Evans, which kicked it off for them. That was the beginning of a great run for Bill and everybody who came into his trio throughout the years. Well, Joe joined the trio along with Mark in like 1978 or 79, and they did about a 20-month stint of touring and putting out some albums. They did the Paris concerts, Volume 1 or Edition 1 and Edition 2. And there was some other great records that they did together. I've got them. Actually, Bill's record, We Will Meet Again, for his late brother Harry, was also with that trio, Mark Johnson and Joe LaBarbera. So I read Joe LaBarbera's book that just came out in 2021. His story is absolutely amazing. I think more people should know about it. But this is the book right here, Times Remembered. Yeah, kind of titled after the documentary Time Remembered, but this is Times Remembered, and this is Joe's recollection and history and experiences with Bill Evans the last 20 months or so of his life. And believe me, if anybody spent a lot of time with Bill Evans, it was Joe LaBarbera. He was like almost his right-hand man. And so in reading that book, he talked about this record. So I immediately tracked it down and bought a sealed copy, which I'm about to open with you just to make sure that it's not warped. And I also want to play a couple little needle drops for you, just so that, you know, most people see Woody Herman and they think, oh, big band, oh, goofy, you know. Some guy was watching my other sealed video and he mentioned that the records I had in there were goofy. Well, excuse me. This is an amazing record with some killer jazz and funk breaks on it. Watermelon Man and Fat Mama on here just rock. And I'm going to open it up right now and see what's inside. You see that sticker right there? That says Atlantic Department Stores. You probably can't see department stores. It's really, really tiny underneath the word Atlantic. But I did a little research on this, and the Atlantic Department Stores were in the Cayman Islands. So if you know of Atlantic Department Stores anywhere else, let me know. But I thought that was pretty cool. This record came all the way from the Cayman Islands, never got opened over there, and we're about to open it right here in Pasadena, California. Get this shrink off of there. Oh yeah, it's coming off nice. This is surprisingly in great condition for being 52 years old. I mean, it looks like it was always stored in the proper temperature. Look at that, the cover's outstanding. And this is on the Fantasy label, which, you know, that's a pretty funky. Look at Woody Herman looking pretty cool, kind of like nerdy but hip, you know. So let's go in here. It's got the paper sleeve. There is no inner poly lining that I can see. Nope, it's just, hopefully it's acid free. I'm not sure. But let's see if it's got any type of ghosting on there from being in there. No, none at all. It's just dusty. It's got some lint from the paper and stuff in there. There's the label right there. Give it a nice little cleaning, but it's super glossy. I don't know if you can see that. There is no haze on this record at all. It's just light dust. It just needs a good cleaning. And then let's also check to see if it's got a warp. I'm looking at it from here. It actually looks stunning and flat. You see that? That's 52 years in a cardboard sleeve. And this is not super thick vinyl. This is, you see that give? This is the thinner vinyl. But, you know, the ultimate test is to put it flat on the turntable and let's see how it spins. All right, here's the record on the turntable. And it looks like it's spinning pretty damn good. Look at that. That is flat as a pancake. No warp, nothing at all. Let me give you a quick little needle drop of this. So what you heard there was the intro to Fat Mama and a bit of Joe's amazing soloing on Newport Reunion. And then, or is that Reunion at Newport? Yeah, Reunion at Newport. And then the kind of funky intro to the title track, The Raven Speaks. And so this record is clearly a, you know, personal preference for some. Not everybody's into that type of jazz, but I'll give you an example. This is kind of, this is along the time of the David Axelrod sound, you know, with the funky drums, you know, mixing and blending with kind of almost a big band jazz feel. However, they were playing more kind of funky soul jazz. versus your classic big band swing stuff. And these guys pull it off great, man. I mean, just Joe is an amazing, versatile drummer. And I'm very, very happy to have discovered this record to add to the other records that I have in my Bill Evans discography that include Joe on the drums. So what we'll be doing here is discarding this old paper inner sleeve. I know someone's going to tell me, oh, you can reuse that. Well, I don't know. They're just a dime a dozen. I just assume do my part and throw it in the recycling bin. Maybe they'll make a Dixie cup out of it or something. And we're going to go ahead and put it into one of these, which is an HDPE, which is high density polyethylene inner sleeve. Paper outer HDPE lined, as you can see. And that will go into this, which is the Japanese sleeves with the seal. Sealable. I like the sealable sleeves. I just do. They look pretty. They're shiny and more clear, less cloudy than the other ones. So as you can see, it's got the seal on the back, and then nice and glossy and see-through. And I actually saved that little thing. I taped it on the cover, not the album cover, but on the outer sleeve, just so that I can always reference that. This album came from the Cayman Islands, I believe, which I think is really cool. So, safe and sound, the record, 52 years old, sealed, opened, plays beautifully, no ghosting, no hazing, no warping. A success as far as I'm concerned. And definitely, if you have some of your favorite artists on Unsuspecting Records, let me know in the comments. I'm curious to know. I've found that over the years, I've discovered, some of my favorite drummers or saxophone players with artists that I never knew. They don't just work with one group all the time. So it's pretty neat to find stuff like that. Thanks for joining me on this episode of the Vinyl Record Mission. And until next time, take care.
If you haven't, make sure you hit like and subscribe to the Vinyl Record Mission, so that way you don't miss out on any future content. More videos coming your way.